Family-owned businesses, local manufacturing. Far from being dead, they are alive and well in Jonesboro, Georgia. Today, we're going to learn more about one of those businesses, LTI. Hello, and welcome to Invest Clayton. Today, we're speaking with Ben Casey from LTI.
Hey,
Ben.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Thanks for inviting me.
We would not have it any other way. So recently we were at the ribbon cutting for your new facility. But before we get into the new facility, I just want to talk about LTI and your time in the community. So first, just tell us, what is LTI and when was it started?
Absolutely. So LTI is a family-owned and operated business. We have been in business in Clayton County since 1947, so enjoyed 72 years in the area and 72 years in business. It's family-owned and operated, like I said, started by my grandfather, his sister, and a brother-in-law after World War II, and we've been enjoying making commercial kitchen food equipment for the restaurant, hospital, school, K through 12, and college and university market, as well as government businesses. Anywhere where there's mass feeding, we make serving equipment for.
Now, that is an amazing story. So it started by your grandfather. You've been here for 72 years. And, you said that you make commercial kitchen equipment. Tell us more about what
Sure.
it is that you actually make and where we would see, because all of us have used your product, but we don't know it.
Absolutely.
So I want you to tell everyone what that is.
Well, my dad always had the best story for that. He's like, listen, somebody needs to make it. You walk through this equipment, you walk through a restaurant, you walk through a school, you walk through a hospital dining area or corporate dining, and you're thinking, well, somebody needs to make that, and we're just glad we do. So we feel like a niche product line where everything is custom made. We don't really make many things outside of to order, so a custom order. And so any salad bars, serving equipment, front of the house items. We make items back of the house. We make dish tables, work tables, large pot sinks. So that's what we call kind of our custom fab area or fabrication. So back of the house items. We don't make walk-in coolers or cooking equipment. It's more holding equipment. So we're keeping the food warm. We're keeping the food cold. And we have a whole line of serving technologies that are drop-ins that we ship all over the United States. So we go to market with manufacturers reps. And so we have a small sales force that helps drive that business, but we go to market with reps all over the country. So we have representation in all 50 states.
So the next time I'm at a buffet, any buffet, could be a school cafeteria,
Sure,
could be a eat-out restaurant or whatever, and I go through the salad bar, that salad bar.
give them our card. Give them our name. Say, I know somebody good that can do an upgrade here.
All right,
so if we
that
haven't done it.
that salad bar could be you. Or when I go through the hot food line and I'm trying to choose which entree I want.
Sure.
That's
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not actually cooking the food, but we're actually, like I said, keeping it warm, keeping it cold, keeping it frozen. And then we do all kinds of serving areas or tray makeup areas. We do chef's counters and waitress counters in the back of the house as well. So speed lines in restaurants and fast quick serve areas, quick serve restaurants. So,
all right. And so we talked about 72 years in business.
yes.
How many generations is that?
So I'm third generation. So again, started by my grandfather, but we actually have a fourth generation member, my nephew, a recent University of Georgia grad a couple of years ago that joined us about 6 months ago. So it's exciting to already have some of our fourth generation members joining us.
All right, so that sounds great. So that means that you're invested in the community. You're staying here. We love to hear that. A lot of times we hear this mantra about manufacturing and manufacturing being dead and leaving Georgia, but it sounds like it's alive and well at LTI.
Absolutely. We chose to stay in Clayton County in our recent expansion, and we can get into that whenever you're ready. But, we have been manufacturing. We're hiring folks to manufacture. We're not buying all of our components outside of the country or even outside of the state. We're making as much as we can right here in Jonesboro, Clayton County. We're making as many products that go into our final product. So we're doing everything we can to manufacture and keep things USA made.
And so let's talk about that manufacturing a little bit more in depth.
Sure.
So I was recently at the facility
Yeah.
and I saw some of your equipment. And so it was like you would expect in any. Actually, it was not like you would expect in any manufacturing environment, because this is not the factories that we read about in our textbooks. You know, when you and I were in middle school and high school.
Sure.
This was a very clean and advanced atmosphere. So tell us a little bit about the setup of the new building and the equipment that you have in there.
So one of the things that we have been talking about as family owners, as executive teams in the business itself, is over the past 10 years, we knew in order for us to continue to grow, we were going to have an updated facility. While those buildings, we were in 7 different buildings manufacturing next door in Clayton County for the past 72 years. They did us well. We were served very well there, but we knew that we couldn't continue to grow. We were busting at the seams, and really from the standpoint of being able to have progress, to keep up with our competition, we had to invest in a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility and training and office space as well. So a lot of work, multiple years, 2 to 3 years of work with architects, with developers, and building a facility that could help us be more efficient, more effective, and more competitive in the marketplace is why we invested right here in Clayton County and built a new facility.
One of the machines that you have looked like it was just, it was cutting right through the metal. It was,
our Mazak laser cutting machine.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that. What kind of investment was that? Not necessarily dollar amount, but just, how did that modernize your facility, and what did you do before it?
So we had a laser cutting machine that we had purchased back in 2000 that really revolutionized how we did manufacturing for the past 20 years. It replaced many shears and hand tools that we were using to cut with before, but this is really the heartbeat of our manufacturing process. And so we knew this 7-figure investment was necessary, because the lifespan we have been told is usually between 10 and 15 years for a laser cutting machine. Ours was 19 years old, and it's still working. We still use it on occasion for parts and things like that. But the new laser cutting machine is state of the art. It's 3 times as fast as the one we had before. It's just going to make our processes and our efficiencies even greater, and ability to meet our customer demands.
And so part of the reason why I'm so interested in that, we were talking before and I asked you if you were still hiring. And so I've got to imagine that when you're using equipment like that, it requires a highly skilled technician, 1, to keep it up,
Sure.
but 2, to actually operate it. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the work opportunities at LTI.
Sure. So maintenance and operations are certainly part of all of our equipment. We're still using some of our equipment that we purchased, in the 70s and the 80s that still work, press brakes and that type of thing. But we're investing in capital expenditures each and every year, and we're going to be upgrading this facility as time goes on. But there's tons of opportunities. This laser cutting machine didn't eliminate jobs. It provided new opportunities for jobs within our organization. Because it's so much faster, it's putting pressure on other points of operation where we needed to invest in more and additional employees that are skilled and non-skilled. So we have a lot of opportunities there.
And, I'm glad that you brought that up, that, the investment in high-tech equipment, so we don't need as many people holding shears, but now because it's producing so much more, we need people doing other things.
Sure, absolutely.
So that is a great point that I think gets lost a lot when we talk about modernization and manufacturing, and I'm glad that you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we moved in the first week of November, and we're about 14 plus employees than we had when we first moved in. So we've had to steadily hire. We have openings as of right now. We had 4 people start this past Monday.
4 people start this past Monday.
Yeah.
Opening still now. So for those listening, watching,
Sure.
or know someone who's interested, how do they connect with you to say, hey, I think I might want to come to LTI?
Absolutely. Go to lowtempind.com. That's our website. You can reach us on our Facebook page, through LinkedIn, or just connect with our human resources department by calling our office number as well. So multiple ways. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. So that's Facebook.
Facebook, LinkedIn, our website, lowtemp, LOWTEMPIND.com.
All right. So if you're interested in advanced manufacturing, LTI, low temp industries, it's a great place to go. We can see what's going on there. We're going to stop for just a second here while we think about some things, and we're going to come back.
Okay, wonderful.
All right. So thanks for coming back with us. Ben, before we went away for break, we were talking about the history of LTI and just the amazing time that you have put into the community. And so when you built this new building, and let's talk about, before we get into this next question, let's talk about the new building. How large is it?
Sure. So we have 156,000 square feet of manufacturing space. And we actually graded the property while we were going ahead and building a new building, new facility. We graded for an addition to that 156 of 100,000 square feet. So we've already done the prep work in anticipation of growth for being able to make this a 250,000 square foot manufacturing facility. And then we have right at 18,100 square feet of office and training space on the front of the building.
That is amazing. And so you said you had 7 buildings that you moved out of.
7.
You modernized into this.
Yes.
And I got to imagine that when you did that, you had to make a decision. And the decision was, do we stay right here in Jonesboro where we were founded?
Sure.
And we know a lot of times that those decisions, the founding decision is, hey, where do I live? I start this, it's somewhere close to where I am. But now that you've grown, you're still a small, family-owned business, but you're a mid-cap business. I'm sure that there were cities, municipalities all over Georgia, all over the United States, asking for you to go there. But you had to make the decision, 1, to stay in Clayton County, but 2, you made an additional decision not only for the right now, but for the future, to prep to stay in Clayton County even longer. So what was it about Jonesboro that made you say, you know what? We started here and we want to continue to grow here?
Well, those are good questions because they're all realistic. And from a family ownership standpoint, our shareholders said, well, let's think about one thing first, and that's our number one priority, and that's our employees. They're our customers as well. And so because we have so many, we have families that have multiple generations outside of our own as employees of LTI. So we're thinking of them first. And you mentioned a second ago, hey, you want to be able to work somewhere that's close to home. So when we were being courted by communities in Alabama or communities in South Carolina or communities in Tennessee, we were really having to take a step back and say, of course, we're going to look at all these options that we have. But it just kept coming back to our employee base and wanting to make sure that we were treating them in the right way, just as they have treated us so wonderfully by being so loyal and hardworking through the years. And then the conversation always kept coming back. We didn't really look anywhere in Georgia outside of the South Metro area and south of South Metro in a few communities. They all were, viable options for our employees, but we just kept coming back to the idea of Clayton County has been good to us, and it's a wonderful place to do business. As I started getting more involved with the Clayton County Chamber of Commerce, looking at things that the Aerotropolis were doing and the Development Authority, we started saying, this is a great place to do business. Why would we really look anywhere else? I mean, we're bringing the idea of this new $16 million investment was that we wanted to bring our customers to us. If we are saying, hey, if you can entrust in us this large project, this huge college and university project where you're building and you're entrusting us with so much of your business opportunities, we wanted to bring more people to Jonesboro. It's a great location. It's very convenient to the airport. It's convenient for moving around the city where you're not having to go into the heavy traffic. Yeah. And, it's a great place to do business. And then the second part of that, so we're thinking about our employees. The second part was we were thinking about location. And the third part, we're thinking about recruitment for the future. And we all know, it's a buzzword in Atlanta. It's almost a bad word, I guess, is the congestion. Traffic congestion is a huge part of recruitment, stalling recruitment or recruitment headaches. Is we started using our location as a recruitment tool to say, hey, who's tired of driving into the city? Hey, who wants to work a little closer to home? And Clayton County has a very diverse workforce from being able to convince people that, hey, you know what? come give LTI a try, come see who we are, come see what we're doing. And I think that's where we've been able to find some true success. So those were 3 huge reasons why we decided to stay in Clayton County.
You know, I'm glad that you touched on that because one, the diversity of workforce, it is just amazing what we have here in Clayton County. You know, one of the things that I like to tell people who will ever listen is that when the school system sends out information, they actually do it in 4 languages because of the diversity right here in Clayton County. And that's just a huge asset for any business who's doing business internationally, or even not even internationally, just across state lines and in different areas, being able to speak to different constituencies. But additionally to that, accessibility. You hit that word so beautifully in talking about where you're located in Jonesboro, right off of Tar Boulevard.
Correct.
And from there, 30-minute drive radius, you have over 1.2 million people. So obviously there's not 1.2 million people in Clayton County, but you have access to 1.2 million workers.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just amazing. So I'm
reverse commutes out of the city. We've got an easy commute from the west and the east to us, but also just right up and down Terra Boulevard. The Department of Transportation going to be widening that in the next year to 2 years. Again, just another recruitment tool to help us let people know about LTI and our opportunities there.
So we talked about the fact that you're the 3rd generation, but you're not the only member of the 3rd generation.
Correct.
So who else is involved with you?
Sure. So I have 2 older sisters that one of my sisters works full-time in the business, and one sister serves on our board of directors and is certainly a supporter of LTI. So the 3 of us are my parents, and as well as my parents, Bill and Sue Casey, are the shareholders of LTI.
All right. And so my understanding is that in all of your planning, you prepared the site to make an expansion of your building, which we love, that commitment to the future. But you also have additional properties that...
Absolutely. So my sisters and I formed a partnership, and we said, okay, here's LTI investing in a new facility, a new headquarters facility. Well, there was property in and around us that we felt like, hey, we need to protect this investment. And we also wanted to see the opportunities that could arise for our employees for development around the area. So we have the low temp owned older buildings directly next door, but we have purchased a little bit of property on the other side and as well as across the street on Terra Boulevard, just trying to make sure that, hey, we're interested in what goes on there. We'd like to be a part of the process of development and seeing new opportunities that could benefit our employees who come to work there day in and day out. So we're excited about what those future opportunities might hold as property owners as well.
And your facility is honestly a brisk 7-8 minute walk from downtown Jonesboro.
You'd have to be moving, I think. You might need to step up and jog to get there in 7 or 8 minutes, but a 15-minute walk easily, I would think. Yeah.
Right.
So it's an easy commute to downtown at Jonesboro, which we love.
Right.
Because we're actually centered on Terra Boulevard and South Main Street.
And South Main Street on the back end, exactly.
Yeah.
So I bring that up just to say that, for anyone who's interested, low temp or LTI is not just there as this great manufacturer. It's also there as a landowner who's saying, hey, what complements what we're doing?
Absolutely. We're starting to explore all kinds of opportunities. We'd love to see some restaurant space. We'd love to see maybe a healthcare facility or a urgent care facility. We'd love to see an opportunity for a smaller boutique hotel. We'd love opportunities where we are seeing our dollars from a sales perspective of people that might be going outside the county in order to have conference space, small conference space, or hotel rooms. I'd love to see those dollars stay in Clayton County, and I'd love for the commute to be even easier for our guests and our employees.
And I know you and I have talked about this. We've also spoken about it with the city manager of Jonesboro. So for those listening and watching, if you're interested in co-locating next to an awesome manufacturer, give us a call. We're happy to help you set up those conversations.
Absolutely.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask you about is just the future. So what are the trends that you're seeing in the industry? Where are you going next?
Absolutely. Well, we just recently hired an individual to help us in what we call the chain market. So, quick serve restaurants, restaurant chains, as well as a C-store market that we haven't actually been able to breach. And with this new facility, what it allows us to do is to, again, like I've already said, be more efficient, to be more effective for our customer base, and really increase our capacity in order to drive business and grow our business. I mean, that's our 3 and 5 year goals we have for the company. It wasn't just to, create a cooler environment with, tall ceilings and fancy machinery and walls and space. We want to be able to take on more business and new opportunities that we haven't been able to broach in the past. And so we're investing ahead of that growth now so that the story of our customer base is much different 3 years from now.
So let's pause and really dive into that.
Okay.
So for all of you entrepreneurs out here watching, for those of you who have an idea and you're thinking about it, here's a section where we can get some advice from someone who's been through it, going through it, and planning for the future. You said something that I think a lot of people don't really consider. And it was, yeah, sure, we're doing fine now, but we can see that things are going to change, and we're not going to wait for the change to happen before we prepare for it. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you made the decision to do that instead of just saying we're going to wait until something happens?
Absolutely. So currently we have about 60 to 70% of our business in the K through 12 college and university market. And so we're trying to position ourselves, like most companies, is to diversify and make sure that we are in markets and investing, like I said, ahead of the growth in order to allow ourselves to be in other industry segments. You never want to have all your balls in one area. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. So we're just trying to look at diversification and say, you know what? I think this is a real opportunity for us. Why aren't we playing in this market more? So we do a lot of military work. We do a lot of healthcare, and we just want to grow that side of the business in the chain and C-store market as well. So we're looking at new opportunities. This facility is going to allow us that capacity growth, and we're just investing now in capital investments as well as people in order to make that happen.
Did you hear that, entrepreneurs? Capital investments and people. And if you go back and rewatch or re-listen to this entire podcast, it all started with LTI making their location decision around their greatest asset, which was their people. I just think that is so critical. If you had any other advice for small business owners, what would it be?
I would say to always keep investing in your people. And what we have done over the past 2 years is really focus more on our strategic planning and strategic initiatives. Where do we see ourselves in 3 to 5 years? Where do we want to be? And that takes a lot of work and a lot of planning. And we have great people at LTI. We'd love to say it was Ben Casey or Barbara Casey Lane or Bill Casey, my father, who's our chairman of the board. But literally, we continue to hire folks that we know that are going to invest back in us, that believe in what we're doing, and we want to keep telling that story. And so our people, again, you just mentioned it again, are our greatest assets. We have a lot of great people that are willing to come there day in and day out, and they want to see the company grow as well. So it was an easy decision for us to say, you know what? This is the right move to make. This is a big investment. It's a big risk, but at the same time, we couldn't not do it. You're going to either get busy changing or get busy dying, and we decided we're going to get busy changing. And so we're just investing ahead of that growth, investing ahead of that change in order to see the company remain privately held. That's what we feel like is a true niche for us and a competitive advantage for us in our industry, and we're excited to be able to see that growth happen.
Okay. The next thing that I want to ask, we were talking beforehand, and I said, you're not a consumer goods company, so I can't say, hey, go out and buy an LTI product. Although for those of you who like to have those big summer barbecues, you have that once a year party. It wouldn't hurt to have a nice, serving area, or if you have your nice, newly designed gourmet kitchen, have those prep stations. I'm sure we could do that. But for the average person who wants to support, and I just loved your answer. How can we support LTI?
Hey, keep eating out. That's what I told you a second ago. No, obviously, we would like for you to invest and investigate where your children are eating day in and out. There are healthy options within the school systems. There are, keep allowing your kids to eat in the schools, and also just really being able to have opportunities. I mean, we all see it. You go into a convenience store now, you go into a healthcare facility, you go into college and university. The dining experience is part of a recruitment tool for whatever you're going to. People want to feel they eat with their eyes. It needs to be a beautiful product. And so that's how we feel like we're changing how food is served, is we're thinking about how our customer can sell food. And so while we don't produce the food, we want to produce an amazing product that food is served out of.
Well, I can say that I've seen it. I've seen it in place, and it is a beautiful product. Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything else about LTI that you need us to know or want us to experience?
Sure. I mean, I think that, I didn't mention my grandfather and my father probably enough, but my grandfather had an 8th grade education, but he had a big heart, but he also had a mind for entrepreneurship. And, he stepped out. He stepped out on faith. He stepped out on an opportunity, and he seized it, and he continued to invest back in the business. He wasn't about taking the profits for himself. He continued to invest into the business, which has allowed the company to grow. I can't imagine what he would think about this new facility, but I can't imagine what he would think about how we're expanding the business and how we're selling product all over the United States, not just in the Southeast. So, and my father had a sales and marketing hat, and that's what he loved about our people at LTI, but also our customer base. So continue to focus on your people and treat them as customers as well, but also, you've got to take some of those risks. You've got to take advantage of those opportunities and really plan for growth.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm so thankful for you being here, sharing your nuggets of wisdom. I'm really thankful for what you and your sisters have done as the third generation to keep this company going, to keep it right here in Clayton County, in Jonesboro. And we just look forward to that 4th generation and what's next to come.
Well, listen, it's certainly our pleasure. Thank you for what you're doing in and around the area. We feel like investing back in Clayton County is important to our business as well. So that would be my challenge to other businesses, is to continue to stay involved, not just in the community, but in the South Metro area. This is a great place to do business. So thank you.
All right, no, thank you. Thank you for watching and listening. This has been Invest in Clayton. You can obviously find out more about us at our website, www.investclayton.com.